Alright, we are back with another 90s tech video. This time we've got a really cool example of a NetVista 8307. This is a Pentium 4 with 1 GB of RAM. It's quite dusty. This machine has been sitting in a friend's garage for a really long time with no power supply. So I think what I'm going to do with this one is same thing I do with all my other PCs, is turn it into an XP gaming rig. I have too many XP rigs at this point, but it's what I like to do. So let's get this thing a cleaning after I give you a quick tour of the system and show you what I've done with it so far. Some of the stuff I think is pretty freaking cool, because like, I was looking on YouTube and did find a bunch of videos on this, and then I was like, okay, well, let's see if I can find a power supply for this. And there are power supplies. They vary in price from $20 to $50, really kind of depending. And I wasn't really sure which power supply to use. There was a little bit of ambiguity as to like what exact power supply I should be using. So I did some measurements and found that it should accommodate an SFX power supply. So I bought one, a really cheap one, the cheapest one I could find basically that got good reviews, and installed it. And here's what we ended up with. All right, I had the side panel kind of loosened already because this thing's a pain to get on and off. And what a cool computer. Like, I actually really dig the interior of this system. So the power supply is right here, and you can see the optical drive is here, and it's at a little bit of an angle, which is just kind of a neat thing. I actually don't know if this optical drive works. Hard drive is a Maxtor down here with probably a bazillion hours on it, but it's relatively quiet, so I'm just going to leave it there. Normally I'd replace it with something newer. Actually, I have a newer drive I could replace this with, but I'm just going to leave this one here. So this just bends out. And right here is just a plain old boring SFX power supply. This one's like, I think 300 watts, and it's not in there super well. But if we bring this around, you can see there is a screw here, which I did look this up to see if it would fit. The only two screw holes on this side are that one and this one right there. So I knew from the photos that I saw, because I don't really have a lot of experience with SFX power supplies, that this one looked like it would fit. And then the one over here, I thought I might have to Dremel out a corner a little bit here for this one, but I just kind of shoved it in there and screwed it in, and it holds. It's good enough. So it was all right. The previous power supply, I think, had like a little hook right here, and it kind of hooked on. That was really the only place I could find. There were no other screw holes or anything like that. So yeah, I just jammed it in there, put that in, and just gave it a quick boot test, and then said, okay, let's get a record done. I did that about a week ago. As you probably noticed from the sexy B-roll at the beginning of this video that I like to do, this thing is quite dusty. So part of this is going to be giving it a good cleaning. I'm going to take the CPU off, the CPU cooler off, and put some new thermal paste on there. And I've already put a new BIOS battery in there, which seems to be fine. And then of course we want to play games on this, so it's got an AGP slot there. So we'll put an AGP graphics card in there. I'm not sure exactly which one yet. And, install Windows and go from there. So we'll see what's on this. I actually don't know. I just basically booted it up to post it. So let's move the camera and get set up for some cleaning. All right, better. I think I got some good grime off of this baby. Let's get that front bezel, huh? Let's go to the new power supply, paper towel. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. I think it's a good, quick clean. By the way, this is the first of two Pentium 4s that I'm going to be refurbishing. Where they go after I'm done with them, I don't know. I probably won't keep them long term, although I really do like this NetVista. And even though, as far as I know, it has quite a few on-time hours on it, all the interior and the capacitors and stuff are looking pretty good. So let's take a look at that. All right, so this cuts off the bottom part of the board just a little bit below the AGP slot, but I think this still gives you a pretty good view of the condition that this motherboard's in. It's actually shockingly clean for its age and considering where it's been stored. So, you know, well sealed up, I think. I probably don't need to replace the thermal compound under the CPU, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And it looks like there's just a little spring that's holding on the chipset cooler, and there's most likely some thermal compound under there, although it might just be one of those like little thermal pads or something like that. But we'll scrape that off and get both of those re-timmed so that they run for a good, cool, long time. All right, we'll start with the CPU cooler. Looks like it's held in with a couple of flathead screws. Joy. Ooh. Ah, great. Well, I was worried that might happen. Lovely. Ah, I forgot I have autofocus turned off. Yep. But it's got a handy little pull tab here. Oh boy, that's really on there good. Just a moment. I'm gonna do things that I would prefer not be on camera, if you know what I mean. All right, that's weird. Has anybody else ever seen that before? That's like in the package. Really strange. I basically just took a flathead screwdriver and jammed it under there and just gave some gentle rocking pressure and it popped. So it's got this like weird stuff, but this is super strange. I mean, it looks like it goes in between the IHS and the die. That is just really, really weird. But we got no bent pins, and this is gonna need a good scraping and cleaning with some isopropyl along with the heatsink. So let's get that set up. Okay, we're gonna start with the cooler. It's got some good, thick, gross stuff here. It doesn't look too bad, honestly. So I've got some 50% isopropyl, and I've got some simple green if I need it, and then paper towel. All right, let's get working. Let's see if we can get this stuff off without chemicals first. Oh yeah. So this feels just like your standard issue, pre-installed thermal compound. Probably still use something similar to this today. I need something a little stronger. All right, so we got a sponge with a little bit of Scotch-Brite material on it there. Oh yeah, there we go. I don't think the Scotch-Brite can hurt the sort of lapped surface here, but I don't want to go too crazy. I'm just following the grain of this cold plate here. Pretty beefy fan cooler thing. Yeah, look at that. Nice. All right, I'd say that's good. The cooler itself looks like it's in pretty good condition. Not a lot of dust. Okay, maybe a little. But yeah, the fan's all right and it spins okay, so I think this one's good to go. Okay, next up here, CPU. I do have something nearby to ground me for those that are yelling at me. So let's start with a little bit of isopropyl. I won't dunk it on this time. I don't think this is going to get me very far. But I just want to kind of see if maybe this will loosen things up just a little bit. Not really a whole lot. All right, cringe time. Oh, the sticker does not go under the die. Well, you know what? Don't really care about you anyway. That Scotch-Brite did etch into the IHS just a little bit, but thankfully I can still read the silk screen, or whatever it's called, just barely. But want to make sure this guy is nice and dry. After all, this is 50% isopropyl and not 90, so it does have some water in it. And I would like to immediately put this back in the computer. After I clean the chipset at least. All right, I think we are nice and clean. This is great. Clean up a little bit more around that hole. Feels smooth. All right, so we'll set that off to the side. Let's clean that chipset, although I don't think it's going to be any more fun than that. Okay, we're back. Well, my camera overheated. It is damn near 80 degrees in my room. I'll put Celsius down at the bottom. And yeah, my camera overheated. I got a new camera. It's a Sony Alpha A6100, so I could do cool lens stuff and like manual focus, things like that. So anyway, I took the opportunity to cool down the camera. I actually have a fan pointed at it now, a small USB fan. Hopefully that'll help keep it running. I'll have to dig into the settings and see if there's a way I can set the threshold higher. Who knows? Anyway, while it was cooling down, I went ahead and finished cleaning off the chipset and the CPU cooler there. Yeah, let's go ahead and put the CPU back in, give it some thermal compound, and boot this baby up. Looks like we don't have any bent pins. That's great. I did get some thermal compound on my thumb though, so that's good. Okay, looks like pin 1 is this way. Now please don't skewer me in the comments. This is the way I apply thermal compound. Some people like the P method. I prefer to spread it out, which results in getting thermal compound on my fingers. But to me, I feel good that it gets everywhere it needs to go. Nice, thin, complete layer. All right, so now let's take our cooler, make sure we have it in the same orientation. It's a pretty cool design, actually. I'm digging that, although this one here is a bit of a pain. Gotta kind of go in at a little bit of an angle. There we go. Nice. So let's cinch this baby down with our favorite type of screwdriver, flathead. I'm kidding, of course, I hate flathead screwdrivers. So that's all screwed down. Can pretty much support damn near the weight, although I don't want to pull on it too hard. Okay, we're good. So let's power it up, make sure it works. You know what I think we'll do is we'll install Windows on this and then add a video card. I think we'll do it that way, just to make sure everything's working okay. match things up a little bit, I've got a pretty cool, it's just a membrane style IBM keyboard. It's also really dirty, but as long as this thing has working PS2 ports, should be in good shape. And I have a black Microsoft mouse. I don't have any IBM mice that are black, at least. Okay, let's power it on. Okay, so this obviously has Red Hat installed on it. Let's boot into the Windows XP, shall we? Okay, we are at the boot selection screen. So let's select removable device. And that didn't work. Okay, I think I got this figured out. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to install the CD-ROM. So let's do that. This CD unfortunately has, I think the spindle is melted. So I think it's gonna have to be replaced because it left some pretty gnarly residue on my copy of my XP Service Pack 3 disc. So it's, thankfully it's just a backup of my original. So hopefully this will go okay. Well, it is the next day, and man, this was supposed to be an easy video. This thing has basically fought me since I started with it. You know, as you saw, first it wouldn't boot properly, well, it booted fine. It would boot into Red Hat Enterprise Linux, which I'm not going to be using. So I went ahead and formatted it, and then XP basically failed. So I had another Western Digital drive laying around. It was like a 120 gig. It came with a 40 gig Maxtor, which seemed like it was in good shape. It spun up, it booted an operating system just fine, but for whatever reason, it just didn't want to format. So I tried a different drive. It was a 120 gig Western Digital. That one formatted, but then the Windows installer refused to talk to it. So then I tried replacing the IDE cable, and same problem. So I had one other drive. I wasn't even sure what was on this. This was just some random IDE drive that I had laying around, and it had some random hard drive in it that had Windows XP and some person on it. And I was like, okay, well, let's try this one. And this just happens to be a Seagate 40 gig. It also looks like a single platter drive, much like the Maxtor. So these are probably around the same age. So probably around 2004, 2005. And anyway, so I finally got Windows XP installed after much trial and error. And then I've been trying to track down the drivers. There's basically no support page on IBM, like a dedicated support page on IBM or Lenovo's website for this computer anymore. So I was basically taking photos of the chips, and I accidentally deleted one, but I'll put the other one up, and I was taking photos of the chips trying to download the onboard sound card driver and the Intel network card driver. I was able to find the Intel driver, and so this now has a working onboard NIC, and so that's working, but the sound and onboard video I have not been able to get working. But you know what? That gives me an excuse. So what I have is I have something that I've been wanting to use for a while. So this is a hi-fi sound card from Asus. They call it an Essence ST, and I don't remember where I got this, but it's a pretty freaking interesting card. The I/O ports on it are basically hi-fi, so I'm going to use the headphone port to plug into speakers, and it actually takes a 4-pin Molex, which is really interesting. I don't know what kind of MIDI capabilities this sound card has, but given this is going to be running XP, probably not going to be that important anyway. I was able to find the drivers for this for XP on the Asus website, and I was also able to clean off, it had a really sticky, gnarly sticker right here, and I was finally able to clean that off with some Goo Gone and some isopropyl alcohol. So this is the sound card that I'm going to put in there, and hopefully that won't cause any problems. And then the video card, this is one of the cards that I got from the Vision Tech mystery box that they like to do once or twice a year. So this is a 3650, if I remember correctly. Yep, 3650/2600 series. And so I have the driver downloaded for this because AMD, formerly ATI, NVIDIA has this too actually, where they've got a nice archive of all their legacy drivers. So I'm really glad that they've kept those around. So this is a pretty interesting card. It does do VGA through an adapter, of course, DVI obviously, and then it's got an S-Video out, which is pretty handy. Yeah, and then of course it takes a floppy connector. So I have an adapter for this because I was suspecting that I would be using this card. So this thing's, I don't know where these came from. These are like new old stock or something like that, but pretty cool. So, you know, nothing super ripping fast, but it's AGP and it will work. So we'll hopefully anyway. So I have the drivers for this. So let's go ahead and install these, boot into XP, and then let's install some games. Oh, and I actually finally figured out how to take the freaking bezel off of this thing. It's got a button on the back, which I'm pushing, and then this just comes right off. And I see that I got a little more dust to clean up here. And this floppy drive here is a little dusty. I did run my floppy drive cleaner through it and it seems to be working fine, so I'm not gonna do a full service on it right now. I doubt this floppy drive barely got any use at all. Doesn't mean it's not dried out, of course, but it seems to work fine. It's an XP machine, so I won't be using the floppy drive all that much, but it works fine, so that's really good. Oh yeah, let's do the hard drive first then. Nice. Look at that. How cool is that? Screws with vibration isolation. That's cool. All right, so this looks like it can use flathead or tiny Phillips, like #1 size or something like that. Ooh. Why is the last screw always the one that's impossible to take out? Man, why didn't I just use that the first time? Ah! All right, a little bit snug, that's good. These are nice shoulder screws anyway, so they'll stop without crushing the rubber grommets, which aren't looking great. They seem fine, but they're not amazing. We'll just get those a little snug. All right, good to go. That is satisfying. All right, so let's do power first, and I may end up needing at least one of these SATA power connectors off of our lovely new SFX power supply. So yeah, if you got a NetVista, and it takes these smaller power supplies, measure it out like I did, and you can probably, most likely, put an SFX in there instead of getting some expensive, old, power supply that's made specifically for this computer. That's installed. Let's install some goodies. Oh yeah, I need the adapter. So I'm gonna probably just use this one and then adapt one of these connectors to this floppy connector, and then I'll take the other one and plug it into the Zonar. Yeah, it's a bummer that it's got to face downwards, because it's got that really cool, I don't know if you'd call it a heat spreader, I guess you would. I wonder if the heat spreader is just for like voltage regulation or something like that. Extra power. I didn't really want to go with like a super high power setup in this system anyway, because there's really not a ton of cooling in here. So even the PCI bridge chip here, or the PCI Express to AGP bridge chip that's here, has a heatsink on it, which is nice. All right, let's see if this computer will continue to fight me. All right, and that would be a yes. Okay, devices, video setup, AGP. All right, it's been a few hours. I remembered that I needed to install the .NET framework in order to install Catalyst control panel and all that stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and hook this thing up to the network, carefully run system update and install all the updates, and everything else seems to be working fine now. So, what is this complaining about? Updates ready to install. We'll worry about that later. So let's go ahead and go into our NetVista video X1300. All right, so I was originally gonna put an X1300 XT in here. I was doing a little bit of digging while I was waiting for these updates to happen. And of course, an X1300 XT came out in like 2006, 2007. This machine was built in roughly 2002, 2003, somewhere in there. It's a pretty mismatched setup, but I like putting more powerful graphics cards in older systems if I can get away with it, just to make sure to squeeze the maximum amount of performance out of the system if I can. So I originally was gonna put that X1300 XT in there. I was looking at the specs and like memory bandwidth and clock speed and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, well, you know, maybe this is a little too overkill. So I went and found that I had a X1550, which is a super cut down card. It's actually slower in a lot of ways than the X1300 XT, but I happen to have an X1600 Pro, which is roughly comparable to the X1300 XT. So that's what's in there now, is the X1600 Pro. That is also, of course, back then, and honestly, I think still today, graphics cards manufacturers like to put Pro or SE or VE or something to make it sound cool when it's really just a cut down version. But anyway, this 10.2 driver, legacy driver, should work. This was for the X1300 that I downloaded. That's why it says X1300 there if you can read it. But this is actually for the, this should work fine for the X1600. So let's try and run this. This is just running right off the USB stick, which is slow and old. But it's a 1 gig stick and it tends to be pretty compatible with things like Windows XP and older systems. And we'll do a little time lapse. All right, so let's reboot and see what happens. Totally works. Great. Oh man, you want to get that new HD 5970. All right, so we're in the home stretch here. I've got about 35 minutes left on my memory card. So it's getting a little full. I got a couple of new games off of eBay. We've got Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, which is probably the only good thing out of that movie was the game. You know what? I enjoyed this movie. I don't care what you say. But, and then Need for Speed Underground, which I loved this game when I was a kid. Well, not when a kid, but I had a lot of fun with this. So let me get these installed. I'm not gonna record the install because I've only got 30 minutes left and I wanna give you a little bit of gameplay before we end up the video. So let's get these installed and see what happens. A little bonus content, I guess. So I did find a black bezel DVD-ROM it's actually a burner IDE in my storage. And it was working fine because I was like, hey, might as well see if it can run some newer games. And so I happened to have Unreal 3 and of course, Crysis. You know, does it run Crysis? Probably not very well, if at all, but figured give it a try, right? So I got about halfway done installing Unreal Tournament 3 and it just stopped. So I tried a different disc. That disc is pretty scratched up and I actually did manage to make copies of both of the discs for Unreal 3. But it read about halfway and then it just died. And like any DVD, I tried to put it and it wouldn't read. I put a CD back in it and it worked fine. So this is some 91% isopropyl. So let's just give this a nice little clean. My hope is that that's all it needs. All right. Yeah, unfortunately I could not get the carriage mechanism out of the case without removing the main PCB. So hopefully this is all that's needed. I was looking for these. While I'm at it, might as well de-dust this PCB a little bit. This is on the underside. These are some anti-static brushes. I learned the hard way that using a paintbrush to clean a PCB does an admirable job, but it ended up killing a motherboard. So, all right, so that's dusted off. Let's get this back in the case. All right. All right, we're back in the case. Interesting design. Okay, this ribbon right here is going to be a huge pain because I had to take it off upside down. So I may need to block the camera while I try and put this ribbon back on. Yeah, it doesn't quite reach. Got one side in, got both sides in. And that appears to be on correctly. Great. All right, so there's 3 other ribbon cables we got to worry about. That one, and that one. You can see how this kind of really did not want to come apart the way I was hoping it would. All right, yeah, that's right. And there are some little catches here. I swear I'm doing this wrong, but I could not get the carriage out. There we go. I swear this thing should just come right out, but I could not get it to come out. So I'm sure I made more work for myself than really necessary. Well, hopefully this thing still works. Not my first time in an optical drive. I'm sure it won't be my last. There we go. Got a nice little clicky-clicky. Ah! All right. Yeah, all the foam on this is still in pretty good shape. This thing is, what, 2004, 2005, December. Man, there's been absolutely nothing easy about this build. This seriously, I thought this video was gonna take me like a couple hours to shoot. And here we are on day 2. And Molex. Okay. All right, let's try Crysis first. It's really the one I wanted to test anyway. Hey. All right, we'll get Crysis installed and we'll be right back. All right, so we got our games installed. I was able to I was able to install Crysis. I haven't tried to run it yet. I was able to get my other 2 games installed. I also have some game patches that I downloaded, but I haven't installed those yet. I think what I'm gonna do is I made copies of my Unreal Tournament 3 CDs, DVDs, in my Linux PC. Those copied just fine. So I'm gonna see if I can burn new discs as slow as possible. Those discs are really scratched up. So hopefully there isn't some kind of like copy protection, because there is like a CD key that they came with. So hopefully there's not some goofy media copy protection on those discs. So what I want to do now, I'm pretty happy with how everything is running. So let's go ahead and get this installed, or get the side panel on and run a few games, and then we will wrap up this video. Thanks for sticking with me through the whole thing. Oh! Yep, that's what I figured. All right, put in the disc. Want to send a special thank you out to eBay. I've been wanting a copy of this for a while for not stupid money. Found one for a pretty good price. I think I paid like $8 for it. I played a lot of this game back in the day. And this game, I believe, is a little older than this system. I didn't look it up, but I want to say it's right around when the movie came out. When was that? 99? 2000? 2001? Somewhere in there? All right, looks like it did an auto run, so that's good. All right, we only got 20 minutes left on the memory card, so these are going to be really quick. By the way, this is at 1600 by 1200. All right. These intros are super cute and very tiny, but oh man, that's so blown out. All right, we're just gonna keep moving here. We'll play as Anakin. Look at that, butter. I wish I had a frame counter in here. Who played this game? Let's hear it in the comments. Who played this game maybe way too much? All right, we're just gonna blast through here quick. Go, 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 go. We'll just do a quick lap.
The current record holder for this lap is
Sabulba! Wonder if they got the original voice actors. I'm just playing with a keyboard and mouse here. Man, that is some butter. I could probably easily play this on one of my Windows 98 PCs. That's right, you can't actually angle up and down. Whoop. I'm pretty sure I had a joypad or something. Oops. Don't hit any rocks. All right, it works. The Aptiva is now a gaming PC. Oh, and I think I was hearing Redbook audio there. Nice. Forgot to change that. I also just realized I forgot to screw in the optical drive, so I'll have to fix that. All right, so that's good. Remember when EA was awesome? Oh yeah. Boom, boom, boom. All right, let's see what we got here. New profile, the 90s. Although I guess it's the aughts. All right, looks like we're running at maybe 800 by 600. All right, I didn't see an option to quickly change the screen resolution, so we're just gonna run it whatever default res it is. It looks like 800 by 600. Ooh, actually it looks more like 640 by 480 to me, but that's all right. We're just checking this out. Go, little Honda Civic, go! Man, this is another one I played a lot of. And again, I think I had a joypad or something. I don't think I was playing on a keyboard. Woo, that was close. I didn't even see that coming. All right, just want to do one lap. It's coming up. Let's hit that sign. Oh, I hit a little more than the sign. All right, that's our lap. Let me know down in the comments. Do you want me to hook up my capture and do, say, 20-30 minutes of using this PC or some other PC to play some older games? Let me know. I'm also thinking about doing a live stream or event or something like that when I get to 500 subscribers. So that would be something else that I'm considering. I would love to hear some feedback on that. All right. Sweet. All right, and I'm 99% sure Crysis also requires the disc. So let's go ahead and put that baby in there. Camera says I got 12 minutes left. It's also 80 frickin' degrees in my room. Again, Celsius down at the bottom of the screen. So we'll see if my camera overheats. That is the downside about using an APS-C camera. For video, you get lenses and all kinds of shutter options and everything you get with a better camera, but they tend to run a little hot. Maximum game. Are these all EA games? No, okay. Yeah, DVD is slowly sinking into the case because I forgot to screw it in. All right, let's do this. I have not run this. The other two I actually ran really quickly off camera just to make sure they ran. This time you're seeing it for the first time that I am. My expectation is this is not going to be a pleasant experience if it runs at all. Okay, hard drive light. I don't know if you can see the hard drive light, but it is blinking. Oh, okay. This came out in 2007. Unreal Tournament 3 also came out in 2007, and in my opinion is way more optimized, which is why I wanted to also try it on this. And I am going to do a quick follow-up video once I get Unreal Tournament installed. All right, hard drive light again is still going crazy. I'm not sure if you can see it from the camera's point of view, so it is loading. This is like a, what is this, first gen Pentium 4? You guys saw it. It's the little tiny socket, 540 or whatever. Okay. All right. Looking good, nice and smooth. So yeah, this is a 5-year newer game. I loved this game. I played this start to finish. Again, I want to hear from you in the comments. Did you play this game? Did you finish it? Did you like it? Did it crush your computer also? Yeah, see, we're at freaking Core 2. See, I want to put this on my my normal XP rig and see how this runs. Okay, we got a menu. That seems okay. Let's go to options real quick. Game settings. Difficulty normal. System settings, here we go. Graphics. 800 by 600, anti-aliasing off. Scan hardware, select optimum settings. All right. Warning, system settings changed to low spec. Sounds about right. All right, back. Single player, new game, normal. All right, we're gonna see if it'll let us skip this. Nope.
Maximum speed. Maximum strength.
All right, since I'm running low on storage here on my camera, I'm gonna stop the video for just a moment and resume when this video, unskippable video, is done. All right, we are loading. I'm gonna put the mic down here. Turn this up a little bit and see if we get a slideshow, which I'm guessing we will. And then we can all know, does the Aptiva Pentium 4 with the X1600 Pro run Crysis? All right, here we go. Again, this is on low. Wow, August 7th, 2020, that just happened.
This is Dr. Helena Rosenthal.
Oh no, wait, that's next month.
The IAS research team stationed on the Lingshan Islands. The North Koreans have assumed control. They're rounding up civilians outside. They found something buried in the rock. This discovery could change the future of the planet. The Koreans don't know what they're dealing with. Please.
August 14th, 2020. The distant future. So far, so good. Let's see how it handles the airplane drop scene.
Command, this is Sky Chief. We're at Angels 25, bearing east. Getting some radar interference. Looks like an electrical storm brewing.
That's a negative, Sky Chief. Nothing on our side. Skies are clear. Over.
Roger, Command. Must be a malfunction. ETA to drop zone.
Hey, Nomad, you still with us?
Having more
Okay,
than
listen up,
512
gentlemen.
megs of RAM. is
Intel
probably
reports a significant military presence on the island.
helpful.
We have the element of surprise, so let's use it. The North Koreans can't know we're here.
They won't even know what hit them.
Can it, Psycho? Pay attention. This is a covert operation. Our job is to locate and evacuate. We're not at war here.
Not yet.
Prophet, do we even know if these people are still alive?
That's what we're here to find out. We lost contact with Dr. Rosenthal a week ago when the Korean military locked down the island. 2 days ago, we picked up a distress signal from the team's research vessel. Someone down there wants to be found.
Raptor team, we're beginning approach. Stand by your brief.
All right, gear up. Masks on. Once we clear the plane, form up on me. Shoots on my mark.
Green in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Go, go, go! See you guys in the LZ.
So, J-Sox got us chasing archaeologists now? And this will be a cakewalk.
I've heard of this guy. He must have found something big to buy all of this heat.
Whatever. $50 says this Rosenthal ain't the real reason we're here. Lock it up, team. Stay focused. We got limited intel going in. I'm counting en route to USS Constitution. Until they're 5x5, we're on our own. Shoots on my command. Go!
What the hell? You see that? Nomad's in. He lost the chute.
My chute's gone! My damn chute is gone! I've got no man, no reserve.
Keep it together, kid. You're overwater. The suit should absorb the impact. Nomad, what's your status?
Okay. My HUD's scrambled. What the hell was that?
Check in. Psycho here. Down and on the move. Just a step. You'll see the LZ. Aztec, I have negative visual feed from your unit. Report. Aztec, report.
Hey.
Prophet, I made it to the beach.
So yeah,
Video water pretty hard. Let's try to recalibrate. All right, let me run a field on from Aztec. Back online. Nomad, rendezvous with Jester and head to Aztec's location.
this runs Crysis. It's on low, but it runs. That's all right. I did not expect this. I thought even on low, this would just be a total slideshow. So yeah, it definitely chugs here and there, which is probably largely due to very little VRAM for such a new game for the system. But yeah, this is running just fine. The sound is occasionally freaking out. That might be the 96 kilohertz setting, but who knows. Nice. Reload? Yeah. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, well, I think that's going to conclude this video. Thanks for watching all the way to the bitter end, and what I would call successful end. So, thank you again, and of course, I love any constructive feedback, positive or negative, as long as it's constructive, not just, you know, your video sucks. Not that I've had that problem at all. Everybody in the comments has been awesome, so thank you so much for that. Also, I hope to definitely do some more interesting work now that I've got a different camera, and be able to get some better shots and stuff like that for the channel and for your entertainment. So thanks again, and if you did enjoy this video, please feel free to give it a big old thumbs up, and hopefully we can get up to 500 subscribers and do a live stream, because I think it'll be a lot of fun. Alright folks, stay safe out there, and we'll catch you in the next one. Keep it 90s, my friends.